children, welcome to week 19 of Draw and Paint for Life. I'm Maureen Claffey. I'm so happy to be here with you. Today we're going to be looking at the color zinc white. We're going to be drawing cats and looking at the work of the Dutch artist Piet Mondrian. And he did some things that at the time were considered really revolutionary. I think they're probably going to seem pretty simple to you. From your perspective, there were like a lot of squares and lines. And what's fascinating about the video, though, is to watch his evolution as a painter. And I hope that you'll enjoy it. It was before computers, it was before pixels, it was before iPads, which I know seems like kind of impossible for you. And I totally get that. But he was a visionary. And he was beautiful in the way his work evolved. So look at the evolution of it, because as an artist, you will always be evolving. And here we go. Thanks for being here. See you soon. So our color for the week is zinc white, and you can find it here in your paint box. It's super handy because what it does is it lights this whole box on fire. You can mix so many different shades just by mixing in white. So keep that in mind. It's usually one of the first colors to run out in the paint boxes. And here it is right here. You can hardly see it on the paper. It's almost the same color as the paper. Here's what happens when you mix it with a little bit of black. It goes gray. This is white on white. I must have had a little bit of yellow in my brush because this looks slightly yellow, but that doesn't make a ton of sense. Oh, look at that beautiful blue. So blue, which is I usually use this blue for these lessons, and that's our ultramarine blue. Look at how gorgeous that is. This is with yellow, makes this gorgeous lemon yellow. And with red, it goes just slightly off, kind of like that Christmassy red. Really beautiful. There we go. So that's zinc white. And today we're going to be looking at cats, and I wanted to do something slightly different than what we did with the dog, because with the dog we did that line where it was like this A shape right here. So with a cat, I thought what we would look at is kind of like a C line, kind of like a half moon shape, and see if we could draw a cat really easily and with confidence. So let's give it a try. So it's something like this, and you're just gonna draw like a half moon, like that, okay? And then this is gonna come in to make a foot for a cat, all right? And then up here, we're gonna go all the way up here into this big tail of a cat. Come across for the back, and then the head, I'm gonna kind of draw the head as if it were looking at me, okay? And then come down, I don't know how that's gonna work, into the foot here, okay? We're gonna see if I can make this work. So I'm gonna put some ears on this cat right here, okay? And some eyes. And they've kind of got like that triangular shaped nose with this thing, and some whiskers and a little mouth. And then the inside of the ears. And I think the top of the head is a little bit flatter, okay? But really kind of like long lines. And then here's another long line, okay? And I'm gonna go like this with this foot to see if we could kind of create like this underbelly part of the cat. You know how cats just kind of like slip through the house. So there's something that feels almost like with these nice smooth lines. Let's try it again. And again, the line that we're looking at to begin is almost just like a half moon shape. All right, just like that. And let's see what happens when we add a foot to it. Okay, and then come up here and put a big cat tail. Okay, come across here and just don't really even think too much about it. And we're gonna make the head as if it's facing us. Okay, I looked at lots of different ways to make cat heads from the side, and I thought it was a little tricky, so I thought, well, we'll just be simple and put a nice big head on our cat that's looking straight at us. All right, some eyes, and then they've got that kind of like triangle-shaped nose, and we'll put some whiskers on it. So, all right. And then this, right underneath the head, is going to come down into the other leg. All right. So we've got this really like sloping line that feels really nice and very cat-like. Okay. The other leg goes here. And then I'm going to go like that to make the other leg, just to kind of create like that under part of the cat. I love that part of the cat when you see it like kind of like walking down the street. And I wonder if that really works. Let's try it like that. This might feel better. So then we have the underside of the cat like this. Okay, that goes into this leg. And we're going to put some paws on him. And there's our cat. And the ears. Go ahead and just add some detail in. Okay. So one more time. We're going to start with a C. Or like, just like half a moon shape. Okay, just a nice curving line. Leg. Big cat tail. Breathe into it. Come across. And the head is going to be like this, almost facing us. Okay, put the ears on it. And then under here is going to come the other leg. And we'll have another leg here. And then the other leg here. And go ahead and put some paws on it. Okay. So if you focus on this structure, the underneath part, this half circle, this kind of almost part of a crescent moon shape right here, I think you'll be able to find how that feels very cat-like, and then bring it into the rest. Big tail. Maybe make the ear a little bit bigger. Okay. There you go.
Piet Mondrian's work can sometimes be hard to appreciate. These shuffling, colorful squares and these intersecting black lines make his paintings all blend together, as if each of them were unique, yet identical at the same time. But this particular style was only one step in Mondrian's quite linear artistic progression. He was born in 1872 in Amersfoort, Netherlands, and will start painting, just like many other Dutch artists, landscapes. Already then, he adopts unconventional techniques. For example, most Dutch landscapes displayed the famous Netherlands sky and its puffy clouds, but Mondrian, in At Work on the Land, made in 1898, puts the horizon line extremely high, not leaving much space for any clouds. He then explored many different movements, such as Impressionism, as seen in Willow Grove, Impression of Light and Shadows, made in 1905. He also explores Post-Impressionism as seen in Evening, Red Tree, completed in 1910, in which we can clearly see the influence coming from Van Gogh. Mondrian also had a Fauves phase, which will preface the importance of primary colors in his later work. But in 1911, an art movement will heavily influence him. He discovers, through Picasso and Braque, Cubism, and will move to Paris to further his career. In 1911, he paints a first version of Still Life with Ginger Pot, and then, the following year, reinterprets the painting in a Cubist style. The intersecting black lines first make their appearance. Mondrian will slowly start to move away from representation, which we can see by comparing his older tree paintings with The Great Tree, painted in 1911. Only 1 year later, he will, again, make one step closer to abstraction with another representation of a tree, Flowering Apple Tree. He will continue to make abstract paintings in Paris until 1914 when, During a visit in the Netherlands, World War I begins, not allowing Mondrian to go back in France. This will make Mondrian meet other Dutch artists such as Bart van der Lek and Theo van Doesburg. Together, they will create the De Stijl movement, in which Mondrian defines neoplasticism. He will write, "As a pure representation of the human mind, art will express itself in an aesthetically purified, that is to say, abstract form. The new plastic idea cannot therefore take the form of a natural or concrete representation. The new plastic idea will ignore the particulars of appearance, that is to say, natural form and color. On the contrary, it should find its expression in the abstraction of form and color, that is to say, in the straight line and the clearly defined primary colors." This will be the birth of the Mondrian we know of today, with the colors and the geometry. But it's only in the 1920s that Mondrian will start painting the iconic compositions. Those will also evolve with time. The first compositions usually had more colors and shapes, and sometimes the black lines wouldn't even reach the edge of the canvas. With time, though, Mondrian purified his work, stripping away more and more elements. His compositions started to include less colors, but sometimes more lines, making his work seem more minimalistic or simplified. Finally, in 1938, with the rise of fascism in Europe, Mondrian moves to London and, in 1940, decides to move to New York City. This will be the last step in Mondrian's artistic evolution. Even though he's 68 when he moves to New York, he's captivated by the energy this city has. The busy streets, the booming culture, and especially jazz music will animate him. The black lines in his compositions will be replaced by colorful lines overlapping each other. The last painting Mondrian completes is called Broadway Boogie Woogie, a representation of the grid-like streets of New York. The lines are vivid, and unlike any other Mondrian paintings, they are continuously interrupted by color. The lines are not continuous anymore. They are extremely busy, almost as if they had a certain rhythm to them. Mondrian wanted to create universal art that, through its harmony and simplicity, could appeal to any individual, no matter their background. By simplifying what he painted, Mondrian broke down his subjects to their core essence, lines, shapes, and colors, and arranged them in order to create balance. You may admire Mondrian's work, or maybe you don't see what's so interesting about his horizontal and vertical lines, but what's less debatable is how fascinating Mondrian's quest for purification is. You might not like his individual artworks, but Mondrian's work as a whole is interesting to analyze as it's the work of a lifetime. From the post-impressionist tree to the cubist branches, all the way to the streets of New York, Mondrian's artistic progress is, in itself, a work of art.
For week 19, Piet Mondrian and the Dutch artist and cats and the colors ink white. Children, thank you for making art. You're amazing. Please keep continuing to make art. The world needs you. You just don't know that yet, but it's true. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye. See you soon.